Hi, it's Herman with Deep Roots Farm. I'm experimenting today with a Mississippi beef roast recipe. We've made this in the past, and I say I'm experimenting because typically with this recipe, you're going to use a pre-packaged ranch seasoning mix and an au jus seasoning mix. And today I'm going to substitute just some simple ingredients for those. So I kind of like the idea of getting away from some of the pre-packaged mixes and some of the ingredients that I can't pronounce or don't know what they are. So again, I just like the idea of using some simple ingredients. So we're gonna try it and see how it goes. This is a real simple, easy recipe to make. Just your basic ingredients that you're gonna need, of course, a beef roast. I got one of our grass-finished beef roasts here, a jar of pepperoncini peppers. I'm gonna use this whole jar. As a substitute for our ranch packet, I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of dried chives, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of dried dill weed, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of black pepper. This recipe also uses some ghee. It calls for 4 tablespoons of ghee. I'm going to put some ghee in there as well. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of water to this roast just to make sure I got enough liquid in there. To make that kind of au jus, and I'll add some extra seasoning kind of in place of the au jus. Our beef roast, typically they make a lot of natural juices on their own, so normally when I'm making just a regular beef roast, I don't put any liquid in with it, and a lot of times it'll make its own juice and it'll crisp up and brown up nice that way and have really good flavor. So for that reason, I don't typically add liquid, but I want to have a little extra juice here if I make some mashed potatoes to go with this, to pour over top. So I am going to add a little bit of water with this one. So very simple. I just took this beef roast out of the freezer this morning, so it is frozen solid. There's no problem with taking a freezer roast right out of the freezer and putting it right into your crock pot. It's going to go for 8 to 10 hours and it'll be done at the end of the day. So I put that in there. I do have, like I said, a half cup of water. I'm gonna pour that on. Then I'm just gonna season up the roast itself with some salt. I got a little bit of celery salt here, so I'm gonna put some celery salt on that. Generously, and also some pepper. So this is just to season up the roast itself, kind of aside from that ranch packet substitute. Next I'm going to add in my ranch packet substitute. So I got my dried chives, garlic powder, onion powder, dill weed, salt, and some pepper. And then right over top of that, I'm going to add this jar of pepperoncini peppers. Oh, I do also have a clove of garlic here from our garden from last year that still hasn't sprouted yet, still good, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that in there with it. Like garlic. Okay, and then the last thing, like I said, this recipe calls for some ghee or butter, so I'm just gonna put that right on top. Calls for 4 tablespoons. And I put the lid on, set the slow cooker on low, and that's it. That's all there is to it. I'm gonna let that go for probably 8 to 10 hours, go on with my day, come back later, and hopefully have a delicious crock pot meal ready to go. Probably make up some mashed potatoes to go with it. All right, it's been about 9 hours since I started this Mississippi pot roast. So I want to give it a check here, see how it's doing. It smells really good, so that's a good sign. And I'm just gonna take the lid off here. looks really tender. Very tender. Juicy. Got a lot of liquid in there. I'm gonna give a little taste here of this juice. Whew. That is good. A little spicy. I might have went a little heavy on the pepperoncini juice. A couple of the recipes I looked at actually call for only a couple tablespoons. I put the whole jar in there, and some of them do call for more. So if you want it a little more spicy, put the whole jar in. But I like it. Hopefully Megan likes it. And I don't think this is going to be one for the kids. But like I said, if you want a little bit less spicy, I think you can get mild pepperoncini and also just put a little bit less juice in there. But I'll show you what this looks like here. So here's what we've got. Scrape some of these peppers off the top, and look how that bone is just loose in there like that. That's what you want. Look how tender that is. One thing that happens a lot of times with roast, I feel like people, if it turns out tough, chances are it hasn't cooked long enough. It'll kind of go through that phase where it gets a little tough. It kind of swells up. It gets real tense, and then after a certain point, it'll just kind of relax and fall apart like this. And like I said, this has been going for about 9 hours, so I think that's a good spot to aim for. This roast turned out phenomenal. Megan and I both really enjoyed it. The beef was tender and juicy. We didn't miss the ranch packet seasoning, the substitute that I used. That was, gave you that nice tangy flavor that you like from the ranch. So that worked out really well, and I think we'll definitely do this one again. So if you do give it a try, let me know how you like it. Thanks.